A rising star in the Republican Party raising new questions about President Obama's leadership for the second time in a week. New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said this yesterday at the annual Republican Governors Association conference down in Florida.
And the fact is, we have a president now who ordered a commission from Simpson Bowles and then ignored it and punted on it. Agreed to having a super committee in Congress and signed that deal and then walked away from it and played no meaningful role. That every time there's an opportunity to provide real leadership where the things will be difficult to do, where it's not a guaranteed layup or a guaranteed photo op, he walks. You don't see Republican governors doing that. The best way that we can help our party to move forward and our country to move forward is for us to go back to our states and do our jobs, and do our jobs well, and set an example of what real leadership looks like. And real leadership is not what you see in the White House right now. As I've said before, I think it's a sad day in our country's history to have a bystander in the Oval Office, and that's what we have.
Joining me now, former Clinton campaign advisor Simon Rosenberg, who is the president and founder of NDN, a progressive think tank, and Kate Obenshain, former chairwoman of the Republican Party of Virginia and vice president of Young Americans Foundation. All right, panel, thank you both so much for being here. Simon, let me start with you. Does it cause you to feel indignant, angry, or otherwise to hear Chris Christie call the president a bystander and suggesting he needs an example of what real leadership is?
Oh, I just think it's kind of silly, Megan. I mean, if you really look at what Obama's done in the last 3 years, I mean, the healthcare system was broken. He's put forward a powerful fix. The financial industry was collapsing. It's now getting much better. The auto industry was failing. We now have a healthy auto industry in the United States. Al-Qaeda was a threat. It's being dismantled. Bin Laden was killed. I can go on and on and on. Barack Obama's been a strong and vigorous leader. And I think this is not going to be a fruitful area of attack by the Republicans in 2012.
And yet, Chris Christie certainly feels differently, because this is the second time in a week, Kate, that we've heard him say this exact same thing, is that he lacks leadership, that he's a bystander in the Oval Office. Earlier he said, what the hell are we paying you for? Yeah. Does Simon have some good points, or I take it you're on Christie's side?
I'm afraid Simon doesn't on this particular point. I love that Bob McDonnell introduced Christie as the shy and retiring governor from New Jersey. But Christie has a way of crystallizing what others are feeling. It's not just the Simpson Bowles and the super committee, but it was back introducing a budget late last year that died 97-0 because it was late and so ridiculous. He sort of abdicated that whole debate. It's been issue after issue that the jobs proposal didn't come out till September, and he didn't even have an actual bill to present at that time. Even the health care debate, he sort of removed himself from initially, letting Nancy Pelosi take care of that. But it's not just Republicans that are saying this. Dennis Cordoza, the congressman from California, has said he's out because of Obama's inability to deal with the mortgage crisis. We've got Chris Matthews, who's disillusioned. All of these folks are saying that Obama is not taking an active role at a time when the nation is in serious crisis. And you see it in his numbers across the board. Even young voters who supported him overwhelmingly in the 60s are down to 48% approval rating right now. And I think that's because Obama is so removed from the debate that's going on.
I know, obviously, you're a supporter of Barack Obama. Do you think that he is perceived as a strong leader by most people in this country?
Well, I think, first of all, in most polls, he's beating all the Republicans by substantial margins. And so if you look at the head-to-heads, the way the voters view it right now, the country is comfortable with re-electing him, and at least when you position him against the existing Republican field. And I think he's been dealt a very tough hand. I think this was not, it would have been hard for anybody to have been president during this period.
He has, but I'm curious as to your belief, whether you think he is perceived as a strong leader. Do you think people, even if he's beating Republicans in the head-to-head matchup?
Yeah, my view on this, Megan, is that Barack Obama has tried very hard. There's some things he's done very well. There's some other things like the mortgage crisis that he needs to do a better job at in the next year. But I think he's been a good president. I don't think he's been the best president in history. He's certainly not a failure. And I think that this next year, this debate is going to be, I think, increasingly about what we're going to do now, not about what happened. And I think on those grounds, I think the president is standing very strong and is going to take the Republicans because he's just got better ideas about what to do going forward.
Kate, is it you think that there is a thirst in this country right now for strong leadership? I mean, there were some theorized that was one of the reasons people wanted to see Chris Christie get in so badly, is because he sort of has tough talk and he seems like a leader. He declined to do so this round, but is there a perception that we don't have that right now?
Well, of course there is, and there's this. You're right. There's a hunger when 14 million Americans are unemployed, many of those for 6 months or more. There is almost a desperation for strong leadership, and that's why you see Romney, Gingrich. While there's still vigorous debate over which person it's going to be, you see this this hunger for that candidate who can express bold ideas. Nobody's interested in tinkering around the edges, but how do we fundamentally turn back the clock on what has happened over this 3-year massive expansion of the size and scope of the federal government and the federal debt? And how do we fundamentally reform and go back to a more individualized liberty approach to our federal government? So yeah, they're looking for big ideas and not somebody who, as Dianne Feinstein has said, is going to have a Chicago-based approach and hands-off, but rather somebody who's going to use the office of the presidency to articulate a genuinely hopeful message for America about how we can put Americans back to work.
All right, Simon, Kate, good debate. Thank you both so much.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thanks, Megan.